Man, really appreciative of our efforts. It wasn't as fluid as we'd like, man, but that's football. We got to guard against style points and things of that nature, man. It was prime time television and football against a team that came in here with a good mindset. We shot ourselves in the foot some early, man, settling for three. We gave up a couple big plays that allowed them to generate some scoring drives. They kicked three. But I just like the overall look of the group at halftime. We acknowledged where we were. We acknowledged we needed some plays, man, to break this thing open. And I had a bunch of guys that wanted to be the reason why we were successful. Can't say enough about Calvin, man. I just thought, that's a big play. That punt return, man, was a catalyst for us. Again, as I mentioned, we just got a lot of guys that want to be the reasons why. T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, man, I thought really provided really consistent pressure, particularly in the second half. We're just thankful to be 6-2 at the turn. We need this downtime, man, to get some guys healthy. We had some bumps and bruises associated with play, but I think that everyone that went down in game was able to return. I'll pause and open it up for questions.
Like the fourth straight week, special teams making a splash play like that. What can you say about just that unit's efficiency and effectiveness this year?
It's a legitimate phase of the game for us. We give it that respect not only in words but in our approach, in how we work, and the guys make it real with their efforts. Not only Calvin, but I just saw a couple of guys that secured really, really sharp blocks. Man, they're blocking toward their end line and they shielded as opposed to forcible blocks, and it's just a display of football understanding. And we're not going to be great unless we're not only good at techniques, but display football understanding. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention those guys. I think one of them was Rodney Williams.
Do you sense there's another step forward for Russ in his play?
I just thought he didn't need to warm up to it. A little less rust than the week before. But I'm not surprised by his capabilities, if that's what you mean.
Coach, your thoughts on the running game? 167 yards today.
It was really impressive, again, considering some of the circumstances. Can't say enough about guys like Ryan McCullum, man, who are getting an opportunity to step up and put their hand in the pile and carve out space for themselves in this thing. We talk too much about guys that, we don't have in this business, and there's always other deserving men on the other end of that conversation who are getting an opportunity. And Ryan McCullum is one of those guys and a major component of why we were successful in terms of running the football.
Like procedurally, when you get an overturned call on replay assist on a scoring play, when you challenge there, are you just trying to give them more time to look deeper at it? Is that the thinking that went into that?
I didn't know that they used replay assist, so I really wasn't really clear on why it was ruled a non-touchdown, and so I went to the flag. Had I known they used replay assist, obviously I wouldn't have thrown, because you're not allowed to throw when they use replay assist.
Mike, you've been asked about him a bunch of times, a bunch of different ways, but as TJ continues to make plays like he did tonight, the moment that he did, what are your thoughts as he just continues to do that?
I'm not surprised by it, but it doesn't mean that it's not appreciated. I just come to expect it because he's got unique talent, he's got a unique approach, and so usually that produces unique results with a really consistent tone to it, and usually at the most timely moments. And so, I think the new Steelers are shaking their heads. I think the guys that have been here kind of expect it.
Given how much the penalties affected, maybe stalled some drives for both teams and had to settle for field goals, can you talk about how much the momentum changed with Calvin's punt return and how much you were maybe relieved that you didn't get called for a penalty on that?
I didn't think we did. I don't live in that fear, to be quite honest with you. We were ready to break this thing open, man. I talked to Calvin on third down before he took the field. He'd just been close for a couple of weeks, and I thought it was his time, and he thought it was his time, and he delivered.
How about what Calvin and Van did as receiving options tonight for us as well?
We've talked quite a bit, man. We got a lot of confidence in our collective. They want to prove that they're capable. Oftentimes, George gets a lot of attention. That creates opportunities for others, and it's their job to deliver. And I just think some of those plays tonight that you mentioned is an example of guys delivering when given an opportunity.
Can you diagnose yet what went wrong with the run defense at times?
I'd have to look at the tape, man, and sometimes my natural inclination is to give credit to the people that we compete against. They work hard and formulate plans, and sometimes we're disrespectful when we don't tip our cap to them for the efforts that they did.
What did you think of Russ's deep ball, George?
Again, I'm getting used to taking a look at it. I know if you give George an opportunity, he's going to come down with it. But Russ is doing a lot of things well.
Anyone else? All right, we'll have Alex and Russell.
Thanks, guys.